Hi there, it's Carl Irwin, the Common Magician, and I want to try something interesting with you. Got a deck of cards here, and it could be shuffled by a spectator. And once they're satisfied that everything is mixed up to their liking, we take the cards and we're just going to set it down right here. And this is going to be sort of just an example of some things to talk about that I haven't touched on too much on the channel here, and I wanted to take a time to get your opinion on something. I have a couple of items out at Penguin. One of them is Any Card, Any Number, the PDF book Any, and it deals with the Any Card, Any Number plot. And then I also have another product that I just recently put up there called Open Mic. And Open Mic is a discussion on discrepancy open moves, not really moves at all, but discrepancy revelations, and the way that various types of discrepancy type revelations can be applied to card magic in routine. And in doing so, you can really do powerful magic with an impromptu setting, a deck of cards that's in use, and you can do a whole series of card magic, a routine of tricks that can really go on for quite a period of time. And I give you a routine, and I give you kind of modular applications of these discrepant kinds of revelations in order to demonstrate that you can do really strong magic very securely, very low stress, even with a heckling crowd, a type of audience that wants to be hands-on and sort of heckles you at least in a friendly way. I think if you ever have a heckling crowd that really bothers you, you should finish the trick and move on. That's my general feeling. But we're talking about those situations like for family and friends where there's no boundaries. You know what I mean? And people kind of bust and give a hard time. Whenever you're doing magic for people like that, you need to make sure that your methods are really above board. And discrepant revelations are very much like that because they rely on more of an optical illusion kind of premise. Not in the way that you normally think of optical illusions, but they are optical illusions nonetheless. And they're very solid. And because they rely on that, everything is done in the open. Powerful magic, I think, can be had that way. This is perfect for beginners and intermediate and professional type magicians, but it really is centered towards the kind of magician that is like me. And if you're watching this channel and you watch this channel frequently, maybe it's like you. You're looking for accessible approaches to more powerful kinds of presentations. So the tricks on that product rely, and in Any, rely on a sort of magic that is not really visual and magical, but more so depends on a kind of magical element that is more in the brain, as someone who reviewed it, is more cerebral in effect. I favor that kind of magic anyway. I find that very visual types of magic, particularly with cards, usually rely on gimmickry and gaffes that cannot be examined. There's so many really solid, highly visual effects that are out there that, frankly, you just can't do for people unless you have that boundary of kind of a stranger boundary between people where they're not going to go grabbing at things. So some of those effects I think work really good in walk around environments. When you walk up to a table, people are seated, you could take your things and go away, or on the street, or in places where it's okay if they catch you out and you can just move on to the next one if you're performing an awful lot. But in terms of performing highly visual kinds of magic for people that you know, where there's no boundary between you and them, you just can't do it. You just can't do it because the inevitable is, give me that. Let me see those, right? And a lot of very highly visual magic can't hold up to that, right? So I tend to favor the more cerebral, as someone put it, kind of magic, where the things happen in a very normal setting, in a very normal way, but the outcome is extremely improbable. I favor that, and that's the kind of magic we see on this channel. So I've got these two products. Just a quick plug for Open Mic. If you're interested in that, I think sales seem to be good and the reviews have been good. Go check it out if you haven't already. Anyway, I've got these two products out there that deal with very similar topics. One is in a PDF form. One is in a video format, dealing with very similar kinds of concepts and approaches. I was thinking about another trick I haven't really touched on. That is the trick that can't be explained, right? The trick that cannot be explained, often attributed to Vernon and has been published in a couple of different places where he describes it. Either he himself describes it or others on behalf of him talk about what he has said about the trick. So very quickly, the trick that cannot be explained is that you have an open prediction. The deck is shuffled. The spectator hands it. It's as hands off as possible. And you end up with a revelation. In this case, the deck's sitting right there. They shuffled it sitting right there. You just say, turn the deck over, right? And they turn the deck over, and you see a identity that has been come to by them. You have the open prediction there. In this case is my wallet, and they can take the wallet. They can open up the wallet, and they can reveal 9 of spades. So you can see it right there, 9S. So this is the open prediction, right? In the trick that cannot be explained. Now, I've been thinking a lot about this for a long time. It's kind of like any card at any number, but it's not. It isn't. I want to talk about this, and I want to get your opinion. The trick that cannot be explained, I think, is a misnomer, because it's not really a misnomer. It's not the identity on it, the name for it is not incorrect, but I think the understanding of the identity is often incorrect. Just my perceived opinion on this, how I perceive the trick. Some people look at it and they think about the trick that cannot be explained as meaning a revelation happens in this open prediction sort of way, and it cannot be explained. But that's not at all, I think, what Vernon meant when he sort of referred to it in this way. If you read his statements on it, you come to the realization that, I think you can, at least I have, you can come to the realization that what he really means is that the trick can't be described. It's not that you can't really understand the method, although certainly if it's a good trick, you shouldn't be able to describe the method for it. And the way he does it with chance operations, it would be difficult to describe it except to say that there's chance operations in play. I think what it really should be called, and what Vernon really means as he describes it in this way, is that it is the trick that cannot be described. The trick that cannot be described. Meaning that you can't really say what the trick is at the onset. If you were to describe the trick to somebody, the description would have to be very simple and very vague, right? That is to say, there is an open prediction and the prediction is revealed in an impossible way. That prediction, or that description, is so vague and so general, it really doesn't get to the heart of the matter. There are many branches that one can take in terms of the revelation, the way that the revelation is done, the way that the procedure happens in the revelation of the open prediction. And because that can branch in so many different ways, you really can't describe the trick. That's the problem. It's not that you can't explain it, it's that you can't describe it at the onset. I think that's really what the trick is. As far as the explanation for the trick, or the method behind the trick, I think that really the presentation leaves open a variety of explanations and methods, and you really can't pin down any one in particular when doing the trick. So that's kind of how I perceive it. I don't really think it's the trick that can't be explained with respect to a method. I think it's really the trick that can't be described. And I think there's a lot to talk about with this in terms of methodology and presentation and access. One of the elements of the trick that cannot be explained is that Vernon says the more one knows about card magic, the more opportunity there is in the revelation, right? The greater one's vocabulary, the more directions one can take. And certainly the more one understands mathematics in particular, and can acquire spelling from counting, the more opportunity one has in the revelation. I think that is really what this is about. Now, if you're not good with mathematics and spelling, even with having a kind of preset of options for that, or rather a menu of options to choose from, I think this is going to be a kind of trick that you shy away from, right, in terms of chance operations. But I think there's a better way. And it has to do with these products, the Any Thoughts on ACAN from a Common Magician, and the Open Mic project. I think there are elements in there, and many more that can be discussed, that can really get at this for the common magician and make this quite accessible, this being one of them. But I need your thoughts. If I were to do a project on the trick that cannot be explained, should I do a video format or should I do a write-up? Should I do a PDF, an ebook kind of presentation? What is those of you that have gotten these things, or these two products, or you've frequent this channel, what do you think? If I were to do this, or is this worth it at all? Is this something that you would be interested in, or do you think other people would be interested in? A sort of treatise, either video or PDF form, on the trick that cannot be explained for the common magician. An accessible approach to the effect that really can't be described, whatever the effect is, right? And that, I think, I think there's something in there for magic in general, that a discussion on this topic really can open one's eyes to a number of different effects, right? Seeing that the effect itself really can't be described. I think that discussing this really can open one's imagination to a variety of different magical effects, not just related to this kind of Vernon premise. So anyway, what are your thoughts? Video, first of all, is it worth it? Second, video format or PDF book? How would you like to see something like this, if you would like to see it at all? Share your thoughts on here, and we'll see where this project goes. But I have a lot to say about this. And maybe we'll investigate some of this on the channel as well, as I kind of put together a project. If it comes to fruition, I don't know. But anyway, the trick that cannot be explained. What do you think about it? My thoughts on the title, on the actual name for the trick. Is this project worth it? What format should it be if it is worth it? What are your thoughts? Share your thoughts below. Good luck with this. Happy magicking.